There's a quiet role some people fall into without ever agreeing to it. You're the one expected to stay steady, keep perspective, and absorb tension when things get difficult. When emotions rise in a room, eyes turn toward you, not because you caused the problem, but because you're trusted not to make it worse. Over time, that expectation hardens into a rule. You become the calm one, even when you're tired, even when you're affected, even when no one asks what it costs to stay that way. Being expected to remain calm creates a subtle imbalance. Your emotional regulation becomes part of the environment, something others rely on rather than something that's recognized. When tension rises, you're not allowed the same range of response. Your steadiness is assumed, not chosen. This creates pressure because calmness stops being a personal strength and starts functioning like a responsibility. If you react, it feels out of character. If you express frustration, it's treated as unexpected or inconvenient. The role you've been placed in leaves little room for your own emotional fluctuation, even though you're just as impacted by what's happening. Over time, this expectation trains you to suppress rather than process. You learn that stability is rewarded only when it's uninterrupted, and that your value in the room is tied to how well you can absorb volatility without reflecting it back. Think about a moment of conflict where emotions escalate quickly. Voices rise, tension sharpens, and the situation becomes uncomfortable. You feel it too, the stress, the frustration, the weight of what's being said. But instead of reacting, you're expected to stabilize the space. You lower your voice. You choose your words carefully. You manage not just your emotions, but the emotional temperature of everyone else. Afterward, there's rarely a check in. The focus moves on because the moment passed without exploding. What goes unacknowledged is the effort it took to contain that intensity, and the fact that your calm didn't come from indifference, but from restraint. The shift happens when you recognize that being calm doesn't mean being unaffected. Emotional regulation is not emotional absence. The steadiness you bring to a situation is often an active choice, one that requires awareness, control, and energy, not a natural lack of response. Seeing this clearly helps separate your capacity from your obligation. You may be capable of holding space, but that doesn't mean you're responsible for carrying everyone else's emotions by default. Calmness is a skill, not a role you owe the room. This reframing allows you to honor your ability without letting it quietly override your own needs. It restores agency to something that may have started as strength but gradually turned into expectation. Navigating the expectation to always be calm doesn't require abandoning your steadiness or becoming reactive. It starts with allowing yourself moments of honesty about your capacity. You don't have to escalate to acknowledge impact. A simple statement like, "I need a moment," or "This is affecting me too," creates space without destabilizing the situation. You can also step out of the role when it isn't necessary. Not every conflict needs a stabilizer, and not every tense moment requires your regulation. Allowing others to sit with their emotions, even briefly, redistributes responsibility and protects your energy. Calm becomes sustainable when it's a choice, not an expectation. Structure, not suppression, is what allows steadiness to last. Many modern environments quietly assign emotional labor to the same people. Those who demonstrate composure, empathy, and restraint are often leaned on to stabilize situations others feel free to escalate. Over time, this creates an uneven emotional economy, one where calmness is extracted rather than shared. This pattern is especially common in spaces shaped by hierarchy, gender expectations, or unspoken roles. Emotional regulation becomes invisible labor, essential to keeping things functional, but rarely acknowledged or supported. The system works precisely because someone is absorbing the impact. Understanding this dynamic shifts the conversation away from individual temperament and toward collective responsibility. Calm shouldn't belong to one person. It should be a shared condition that environments actively support, not quietly demand. Being the calm one doesn't mean you're untouched by what's happening. It means you've learned how to hold yourself together in moments that ask more than what they give back. Awareness allows you to protect that capacity and to choose when calm is offered freely rather than assumed. If this resonates, we explore these dynamics further across our work on navigating modern social spaces with clarity and dignity.